fantastic performance for Greg Biffle.
A spectacular day.
This is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Take my hands away from the steering wheel. On my face.
Three down, 7 to go, and the chase has brought us to the Auto Club Speedway in sunny Southern California. And right now, the Biff is back. A win last weekend in Kansas has put him back in the hunt, but Californian Jimmie Johnson is back as well, where he is used to being, and that's on top of the points. Kyle Busch is still in the game, but still fuming over a run-in with a non-chaser on the track. We'll speak live today with David Ruderman for his side of the story. It's the final fall trip to the Auto Club Speedway for Sprint Cup, and today someone will strike gold out west. It's race number 30 of the season. This track is hot, slick, and fast, and it is time for race day. So fans, get on your feet as we take a look at the championship points with 7 races to go. Jimmie Johnson back in first, and that could spell danger for the rest of the field. Then it's Hamlin, Harvick, and Carl Edwards, who still has yet to take a checkered flag this year. Jeff Gordon, winless for a while, is 5th in points. Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, and the Biff represent 4 former winners on this racetrack as we take a look at the San Bernardino Mountains. A beautiful day for racing. Welcome, everyone, to the Auto Club Speedway and NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. The chase is on. It's heating up. It has never been tighter at this point before. We have a minimum 8 drivers with a shot. That could change for one way or the other today. Hello, everybody. I'm John Roberts. Glad you could join us here on the West Coast. It's early, a little later on the East Coast.
Yes.
Nonetheless, we're glad to be with you. KP, Kyle Petty, and race car driver
Yes.
number 28, Kenna Wallace. Hey, man, we're in California.
We're in California, and I'm excited. The reason I'm excited, we have 8 drivers within 85 points. Just when you thought Jimmie Johnson was going to run away with it, he's only got a 6-point lead, Kyle. This could be one of the greatest championship races of all time.
The reason I'm excited to be in California is California girls. Okay, I'm just going to throw that out.
Hey, but Kyle,
Yeah!
but
Sorry
Kyle,
about that. Sorry.
but Kyle, the
Isn't that a
East
song?
Coast girls are hip.
You were going to get a song out of that. That's all right.
Those.
Enough singing. Let's get back
Enough,
to the
let's
racing.
go.
All right. The big thing right now is we could have a very tight battle heading into the home stretch here as we go to Homestead. But right now, for some comments, let's go inside the racetrack and start out with our good friend Hmiel Sadler. Hmiel?
Yeah, thanks, guys. And you guys mentioned it. Tightest points race we've had since this chase got started. 8 drivers within 85 points. But the story coming into Auto Club Speedway has got to be Jimmie Johnson, like it or not. He's won 3 out of the last 4 races at this racetrack. He qualified 8th, but he was first in happy hour. Why is this a big race for Jimmie Johnson and the competitors? It's because in years past, I honestly do not think that the people trying to race Jimmie Johnson for the championship thought that they could beat him. But this year seems to be a little bit different. As I get a sense from some of the teams chasing Jimmie Johnson, I believe that there's 5 or 6 teams that legitimately still think they can beat this 48 car. So today is a big race for Jimmie Johnson. Number 1, can he put any kind of hope the other drivers have of winning this championship and dethroning this 48? Can he put those to bed today? Or can somebody else step up and dominate and still leave a little bit of question as to who's going to win this championship? Wendy?
Thank you, Hmiel. Good afternoon on the East Coast. Good morning here on the West Coast. Let's start with those guys chasing Jimmie Johnson with our second place points guy. Only 8 back. Denny Hamlin comes into the Auto Club Speedway with a pretty poor qualifying effort. He qualified 34th, but here's the thing. He's going to start from the back anyways because he had to change transmissions in between practice sessions yesterday. They had a bad vibration. They didn't want to take any chances. That transmission change will put him to the rear of the field. Now, he was pretty good in happy hour, top 10. If we move on down to Kevin Harvick, Kevin Harvick also had a poor qualifying effort, 21st in qualifying. However, here's the positive thing for Kevin Harvick. He comes into the Auto Club Speedway with some good stats, finished second here in the spring race, if you remember back to that race, but he was 5th in happy hour yesterday. So his race trim is a little bit better. And Carl Edwards, who's 3rd in points, only 53 points back for Carl Edwards. This is a tight points battle, guys, and it's gonna get even worse. So here at the Auto Club, I think it's gonna make a big difference when we leave California today. Carl Edwards comes into this race starting 20th, was 20th in happy hour, so he has some struggles with the race trim, but here's the positive part. He's been good here in the past. In his 12 starts, Johnny, 10 of them have been top 10s, and we know top 10s will gain you some serious points.
Wendy, thanks a lot. Now, many NASCAR fans will remember the name Shane Hmiel. Last night in Terre Haute, Indiana, when Shane was qualifying for a USAC Silver Crown event, he was critically injured when his car got up on the roof and slid into the outside retaining wall. Now, Shane's been driving in the open wheel Silver Crown series for quite some time now with a great deal of success. The last information we have on Shane's condition was he was critical but stable in a local hospital, and we wish the family all our best as they go through this tough time right now. We hope Shane is going to be okay. Initial reports say things are looking better. But let's take a look now at Shane's NASCAR career. 7 Cup Series starts, 83 Nationwide starts, 4 poles in the Nationwide, 29 Camping World Truck Series starts, and 1 Truck Series win, and that came in Las Vegas in September of '04. And to this day, still, Steve Hmiel is competition director at Earnhardt Ganassi Racing, so still very much part of the NASCAR family. We wish that family all the best.
And, you know, Terre Haute, Indiana, halfway across the United States, I'd like to give a shout-out to Juan Pablo Montoya. Juan said to Shane's father, Steve, here's my jet. Jump on it. Go be with your boys. So, Kyle, I mean, we're a close family, and it's nice of Juan to give him his jet, and the whole family is together.
Yeah, and you know, Steve has been a part of our family. Steve was my crew chief when I won that ARCA race in '79. He was my father's crew chief. I was in his wedding. Shane and Adam were really good friends when they were growing up together. Shane, when Adam was killed, Shane had a tattoo in memory of Adam put on his arm. So this hit really close to home last night, and our prayers are with Shane and Steve and Lisa and Tyler, the entire family. And he's just a good kid, man, and just drove the wheels off stuff. So he'll recover, man. He's a good kid.
We wish the family all the best, and also we will keep you up to date throughout else about his condition. But right now, we got a full 2-hour show coming your way from Auto Club Speedway in California, and a couple of big-time drivers coming up. We got Jimmie Johnson, the Biff, and Matt the Brat will join us here on race day. So stay tuned, everybody.
The smart bets on the top 12 today. One proof, current chasers own 15 of 20 Fontana checkers. We'll show you how the Cup contenders rule the desert. From Gordon's early dominance to Jimmie's recent beatdowns and everything in between. Straight ahead, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot on speed.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And brought to you in part by the General Automobile Insurance Services. For the best car insurance rates in town, call 1-800-GENERAL now.
Welcome back, everybody. We are just up the road from Hollywood here at the Auto Club Speedway, and the Sprint Cup Series first raced at this track in June of 1997. And since then, it has been a mixed bag of results for the drivers who are involved in this year's chase, but mostly it's been on the positive side.
The early years at Fontana were dominated by Jeff Gordon, who took the inaugural checkers in 1997.
He's going to do it. Jeff Gordon wins the California 500, and the Rainbow Warriors celebrate another victory.
While bringing home 2 more wins and 2 other top 5s in the first 8 races.
Checkered flag, Jeff Gordon wins it.
We got here in the inaugural race, but yeah, I went to do my burnout and spin around the grass, and I ran out of gas.
The Busch brothers also found victory lane at the 2-miler, but with different teams than they're in championship contention with now. In 2003, Kurt was in Jack Roush's number 97, and Kyle scored his first Cup win with Hendrick Motorsports in the 5-car in 2005.
Here it is. Yeah! Get it, get it, get it! Your sixth Cup winner by 4 days, Kyle Busch, baby! Yeah!
Takes so much effort to get here, and we finally got here.
Roush Fenway drivers Carl Edwards, Greg Biffle, and Matt Kenseth are all together again in the chase and are all former winners at Fontana.
Carl Edwards wins the Auto Club 500.
One each for Edwards and the Biff, while Kenseth is thrice as nice.
Yeah! The mojo is back!
Now for the third time at the Auto Club Speedway, Matt Kenseth has won here in Southern California.
And the leader of the pack at Fontana is also heading into chase race number 4 as your points leader, Jimmie Johnson.
Oh man, I'm smelling victory.
Fontana was where it all began.
Jimmie Johnson off turn 4, 6th in points, leading rookie on the tour, and he's going to win his 13th start.
First Winston Cup win is awesome. Just looking around and to see all the Californians up on their feet, rooting me on to win this first race was pretty neat, and just tingling all over inside. It was a good experience.
And the numbers speak for themselves. In 15 starts, Jimmie's completed every lap, has 10 top 5s to his credit, and took home the trophy 5 times, including 4 of the past 6, while going back-to-back over the last 2.
Kevin Harvick had been so close just a handful of laps ago, but now Jimmie Johnson can look in that rearview mirror and feel awful comfortable.
Checkered flag in the air, and for the 5th time, Jimmie Johnson is a winner at the Auto Club Speedway.
Well, they're really good, but they're really, really lucky, too. Jimmie's a good friend of mine, but there's no way of getting around how lucky they are. You know, they did a good job today in winning the race, but they have a golden horseshoe stuck up their ass, so it's, I mean, there's no way to get around that.
And here's the bad news for the rest of the chasers right now. It seems like that horseshoe is in that particular part of Jimmie Johnson's anatomy once again. But here's the chase drivers at Auto Club Speedway. 15 race wins by 7 different drivers. Denny Hamlin has the worst average finish. Jimmie Johnson has the best average, as you can imagine. And every chase driver has led a lap, and that includes a total of 3,268 laps. So as you could imagine, most of these chase drivers really enjoy a trip to Southern California.
So Southern California has always been high up on my list. It's just a cool place and great racetrack here. I've had the chance to win a race here in the Truck Series and in the Cup Series.
Our Aflac Fusion is pretty fast. I believe that that last week was a good test for us. You know, that Kansas racetrack is a lot like the Auto Club Speedway.
We can come to California and win, and we've been in contention to win a couple of these races here over the last few years. So I'm coming here to finish number 1, nowhere else.
You know, this track is a tricky one. It's slick. The grooves move around during the race.
It's going to be a really hot, slippery race on Sunday. It looks like the temperatures are going to be pretty high. The track temp will be really hot.
The racetrack here just gets rougher and rougher each time and presents a tougher challenge.
Sometimes it takes fuel mileage. Sometimes it takes, you know, having a good car on the restarts. Sometimes pit strategy. A lot of different things.
Good racetrack for us. Typically, we typically have struggled in the summer race. So hopefully we can get that put behind us. But looking forward to having a good day.
Now, Jimmie Johnson leads everybody here with 5 victories. Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth have 3 apiece. So that brings us up to the debate. Those wins happened a while back. Who do we really think is the best right now out here?
Well, Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon, we give them the trophy. They have been the best here at Auto Club Speedway. But I look at Roush Racing. I look at a great Biffle. I look at Matt the Brat Kenseth. Why? They have won in the past. The Biff won in 05. Matt Kenseth won here in 09. Roush Racing is back on it right now. They got their front-end geometry figured out, and that was what was missing early this year. Look for them to be strong today.
Yeah, and I have to agree. If you watch NASCAR Smarts, you would find out, you would learn that Roush has won the most races here. And when you look at the drivers they have, Carl and Matt and the Biff, they're the hottest guys out there right now. Those guys, Roush seems to be in the right place right now. I look at the 29 car, too, though. I mean, I'm telling you, man, he could have won this race, the first race this year. He just got in the wall there late in the race, and as he said, Jimmy was lucky because he was running Jimmy down. So there's 2 or 3 guys, but you can't rule out Denny Hamlin. Even though you look at those numbers, I'm telling you, he was going to win this race last year, and you got to looking at the scoreboard or looking in the mirror or something and spun down the front stretch.
What about the group we call the other 31? Who has a chance to upset this chase party today?
Well, Jamie McMurray, he is on the pole. This guy is surprising, stunning NASCAR Nation by winning the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard at Indy. Look out for Jamie McMurray, not just because he's on the pole, but he also practiced very well in both practice sessions.
Yeah, I think you look at the Ganassi cars. I think you got to look at Ruderman because he runs well at a place like this. You look at those guys, and I think you got to look at AJ. I mean, the way AJ and some of the Richard Petty Motorsports cars have run, he and the 9 car, those guys have been competitive here. And you got Elliott Sadler, who's qualified the best he's qualified, second. I mean, those guys are up front, and they're going to run up front.
So we could see an upset today as far as the non-chasers go, but when it comes to non-chasers, one of those particular drivers was involved in a road rage-style accident last weekend in Kansas. We'll talk to David Ruderman and Kyle Busch's crew chief about what went on the track at Kansas, and can we let it be bygones?
That didn't take long, did it? Jimmy's back on top of the standings, and he'll look to add to his lead today. But first, he'll stop by for some verbal sparring with the Headset Brigade. Then, last week's winner lets us know how he likes his chances for a back-to-back. And if the Kansas W gives him some chase momentum. Plus, Rocket Man's in the house to talk about the battle for 13. You want answers? Keep it tuned here for the truth. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot on speed.
This weekend, the Sprint Cup Series has gone Hollywood. The Inland Empire of California is just about an hour up the road from some of the more famous sites in the world, and that's, of course, in Tinseltown, home of Capitol Records, several other recording groups, and, of course, the very famous Hollywood Walk of Fame outside of Roman's Chinese Theater. And with names like Eddie Murphy, some of the more famous people, actors, comedians in the world are honored on that walkway. There is the Kodak Theater, among other theaters, by Hollywood Boulevard, and it's not every day you see Gene Simmons and Captain America hanging out together. But right now, the movie star in the Sprint Cup Series is 4-time defending champion Jimmie Johnson. 5 victories that he and Chad Knaus have put together here at this racetrack that he calls home. So let's go to Chad for our Sunoco Pit Strategy of the Week.
Although we come out to this racetrack twice a year in Fontana, it's a completely different set of circumstances. This race is only 400 miles versus the 500-mile race we had in the spring. The track changes a lot here. It's definitely getting bumpier, and it's a lot harder on the tires. The tire is the same as what we had here in the spring and the same as what we had in Kansas, but it will not react the same, especially with the sun that we're going to have here on Sunday. It's going to be about 95 degrees and extremely hot for this race. Fatigue on the drivers is going to be really high. Fatigue on the teams is going to be really high. But, like I said, the shorter race distance is going to be better for everybody, I think, when it all comes down to it. You can go about 40 to 45 laps on a Sunoco fuel run, and that really will start coming into play at the end of this race because track position is so important. You're going to want to have the best tires, the furthest track position forward you can possibly have come that last fuel run so you can get a chance to try to win this race. But you have to realize as you are trying to stretch that fuel mileage and as your tires do start to wear, you're going to be running around the top side of the racetrack to try to get that lap time, and your fuel mileage is going to change. So the driver and the crew chief have to be very smart and communicate very well to make sure you get the right fuel mileage for the end of the race.
Chad, thanks. And like we said before, those guys lead the way with 5 victories. After the checkered flag is waved, be sure to check out NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, and catch all of the race highlights and raw emotions straight from Victory Lane. Also, go to speed.com, keyword Sunoco, to enter for your chance to win an autographed flag signed by the winner of today's race. Is Roush Fenway the real deal out here in California? We'll have 2 of their premier drivers talk to us here on race day. We have Matt the Brat Kenseth scheduled, and also the Biff coming by to join us in just a little while. Stay with us. And then there were 10. The top 10 finalists have been chosen in Toyota Racing's Sponsifire 2 Cup Car Design Contest. Which design will be unveiled at the Cobalt Tools 500 race at Phoenix? Who will be the next Michelangelo of motorsports? Cast your vote at ToyotaRacing.com today and help crown the next Sponsifire champion. Remember, you can vote every day until October 17th. It was a doubleheader weekend out here at the Auto Club Speedway. Everything kicked off with the Nationwide Series race, and this was all about Kyle Busch as he tried to make history in 2 different senses, and he got it done. Started on the pole. Kevin Harvick had a very strong car as well, starting up front with him, and those two would battle all day. But Danica Patrick was closing in on what was definitely going to be her best finish ever. When James Buescher got in the back, she was running 14th, and guys, that was an unfortunate break for Danica.
This was the real deal. Danica Patrick proved she belonged. She ran great. They just got closer. Hard to believe, Kyle, such a big racetrack, and you can still get together here.
Yeah, well, you can get together with the guy that runs into you, turns left on you. And I'm going to have to defend her a little bit on that one because, I mean, it looked like she got up there, but it looked like he turned left. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to get together in a straight line, but this is the guy that we're talking about.
This day was all about Kyle Busch, as not only did he come around to get his 12th win in the Nationwide Series this season, which is a record, but also for Joe Gibbs Racing, they have won 6 consecutive events at this racetrack, and that has never happened in the Nationwide Series again. So Kyle Busch just keeps on going, and there's no reason why he couldn't get 13 and maybe 14 before this is all said and done. As far as the points go, BK22 picked up 10 more points on Carl Edwards, and we say it just about every week, but let's say it again. Turn out the lights. The party's over.
Yes, sir. Brad Keselowski has proven time and time again he deserves this championship.
But there is still the Owners' Championship is on the line, so we'll see how that one shakes out before the season is done with 5 more races for the Nationwide Series. Now back to the Cup Series, where Matt Kenseth has 3 victories on this racetrack. That's a great record, and he is standing by with Hmiel Sadler.
Yeah, Johnny, and these guys are starting to make some noise in this chase. They had a great run at Kansas last week, a good finish, but you guys started to turn the corner before that. You had a fast car at Dover, just didn't get to finish. Is it too late for you guys to get back in this thing the way you're running today?
Yeah, I've pretty much figured out how to mess that Dover deal up, that's for sure. So that's been a couple times there. But I don't know, the last couple weeks our cars have really had a lot of speed. Last week we never got the car to drive exactly like I wanted it to, and we got our adjustments off at the end of the race. But our cars showed up at the track with a lot of speed last week, and Greg was able to do the right things and win. And this week's been the same thing. All the Roush cars and the Petty cars have showed up with a bunch of speed to them. We just got to get our car to drive a little bit better, but the speed is there if we can get to drive a little better.
And I asked you before we came on, there's been some talk in the garage about some guys having some trouble with a left front tire. Have you guys experienced some of that, and have you got that squared away for today's race?
Well, I hope so. It's kind of odd. It's something I've never seen in all the years I've been racing. It's just the outside shoulder area of the tire, the outside of the left front actually just starts falling apart. The rubber just starts coming off. It is real strange looking. So I know there's been some cars in the garage that have had that problem. We've made some changes, and we didn't have any problems the last part of happy hour, but then some of our teammates that weren't having problems didn't change anything and started having problems. So hopefully we won't have any problems today.
Well, you've won here 3 times. This is going to be a slick racetrack today. What's going to be the key to getting this 17 car back to victory lane and getting back in this championship chase?
Well, the biggest thing that we've struggled with a little bit lately is adjusting during the race. You know, our cars, like I said, have been fast here the last couple of weeks. We just got to figure out how to do the right things to them to make them, fast at the end of the race. So it is going to be a slick track. I think it's going to get really wide, and the top groove is really going to come in. So I'm going to have to work hard on finding the groove with the most amount of grip and be able to keep the tires on it for a long run. It's going to be really slick. I think hopefully we'll get some long green flag runs, and that'll play in our hands a little bit.
And a great qualifying run for this guy today. Matt Kenseth will roll off 3rd. Wendy?
Well, from one Sadler to another Sadler with a great qualifying effort himself. First time on the front row since 2008, I think. Congratulations, Elliot. Does it feel good? Are you walking through the garage with your shoulders a little bit more out?
Well, it definitely makes us feel better about our team. Todd and the guys really worked their butts off on this car. Same car had at Indy. It's one of our newer cars. Went back to the shop. They fixed it all, redid the body and stuff on it, and we came here, and we've been fast right off the truck. So it's more for them. It's more for the guys that put in all the hard work on the 19 car this year and all the effort they're doing. But proud to have a lot of people here from Reynolds Wrap, and qualifying good definitely is a good start and a momentum booster. And man, we just want to run good here today. And last time Todd and I were here together, we went to victory lane together. So that's our motto today.
That is pretty cool, and that was in 2004. Now, tell me about this hot weather, because it's mid-90s here today, the hottest it's been all weekend. How is that going to affect the racetrack in your mind?
Well, I just think it's going to make it slick. You know, we're going to race in the middle of the day, the heat of the day. I think the top groove is really going to come in. I think you're going to see some guys run on the bottom, middle of the top. But we're going to try to keep ours wound up around the top and save our tires as much as we can. And it's going to be a slick racetrack, but I like it that it's a 400-mile race. The sense of urgency, you're going to have to race hard on restarts. I think it's going to be a lot different race here in California than what we've seen in the past, so it should be good for all the fans to watch.
We've heard about tires possibly being an issue today. What are your thoughts on that?
We had a few tire issues yesterday, but Goodyear did a good job coming there, working with our team. helping us with it, making sure we're doing all the right things we can do with our front end geometry and stuff like that, so we don't have any problems today on our Reynolds wrap forward. So we'll see. We got our fingers crossed that everything's going to be smooth, going to go well, and we'll have ourselves in position there at the end of the race to take advantage of anything we can and maybe get ourselves in victory lane.
All right, well, good luck to Elliott Sadler, who will have a fantastic view of that green flag dropping, Johnny, and he'll be on the high side today.
Wendy, it's good to see Elliott Sadler with a big smile on his face, because so many times this year, guys, and Elliott, he's a competitor. He won't make any excuses, and he won't get down on himself. He keeps smiling, but he has had so much bad luck on the racetrack this year. It's just crazy.
You know, last year, Richard Petty Motorsports said to Elliott Sadler, "We don't want you no more. Leave." Elliott said, "Look, I have a contract. I'm staying here." I'm happy for Elliott Sadler. He's done 2 things this year that's very exciting. He won the truck race for Kevin Harvick at Pocono. Callie qualifies 2nd here, but there's a rumor that he's trying to get back with Kevin Harvick and maybe go back in the Nationwide next year to get that confidence up and show everybody, look, I'm still a winner.
Yeah, and he is a winner. And, you know, one thing interesting with the Elliott thing is he said we were fast off the truck. How many times do you hear a driver on race day say, we were fast on the truck, and that goes on, and they take that momentum off the truck and do good on Sunday? Matt Kenseth is going to be somebody to look out for. He had gotten a wreck at New Hampshire, went to Dover, and he said, I made a mistake at Dover. Dover seems just to be a bad place for it. But he came back last week, had a great run, and this is a Roush track. And Matt has 2 wins here, so look for Matt to be a big points day for him.
You can look for Matt, but also one point that Elliott brought up, the last time that he and Todd Parrott were at this racetrack as a team together, they did win, and he has 3 career victories, 1 coming on this track and others at similar tracks. So watch out for Elliott Sadler today, and congratulations to him on his qualifying effort. Saturday NASCAR race day invades Charlotte. We'll get you pumped up for 500 miles of racing and the only night race of the chase. Plus, we'll have a preview of how the chase for the Cup is stacking up. NASCAR race day, built by the Home Depot, live from Charlotte, coming up this week. It's Saturday at 5, exclusively on Speed. Well, he was on the other side of a road rage incident. David Ruderman will come by and give us his side of the story about what happened at Kansas last weekend. Stay tuned. More from Auto Club coming up.
If you were hoping for some chase suspense, you're not disappointed after 3 weeks. 9 drivers within 101 points and 11 guys with a legitimate chance at the Cup. We'll show you how the chase tightened after Kansas and if anyone will break away from the pack today. Around the Turn, NASCAR race day, built by the Home Depot on Speed.
There's a lot cooking here at Auto Club Speedway, especially down in the garage area. Some of the best traveling chefs in the business are working their magic around the haulers and keeping these teams fed. But here at Speed, we have our own racing chef, and he's cooking up some local fare that he says you're really going to like.
There are a lot of beautiful things in California. Tops on my list, the artichoke. Today I'm going to show you how to make some stuffed artichokes that are very simple to make, no mess, easy to eat. You take an artichoke, boil it in some lightly salted water. Make sure it's submerged until the skewer goes right in and comes out. Means they're nice and tender. You can see these leaves here, how tender they are. I've made a stuffing with some oil, chicken broth, some panko breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, fresh herbs, some garlic, Italian sausage, butter, salt and pepper. Now you mix this together and it goes right in the little cup right here. We're gonna put these in the oven and bake them at about 350 for about 20 minutes. They are wonderful. We're gonna cook them until they're just nice and toasty brown on the top. You gotta check out our show this week. Bobby Labonte and I were cooking healthy at the Speed Stage, and at the Speed Stage, Rutledge came over. Last time he was on, he just wrecked my kitchen, but this time we opened up a lemonade stand and just gave away homemade strawberry lemonade to everyone. So, this is what the artichokes look like when they're done. There's some lemon that you can serve them with. These are wonderful. Who's ready for some artichokes?
So Kyle says the girls are pretty out here. Nikki says the artichokes are pretty out here.
I don't know. Is an artichoke a fruit, a vegetable? What is it? That's the thing. I know where I'm from. We didn't eat artichoke while we watched racing.
I really don't know. But one thing I do know is the Bavarian-style Oktoberfest themed festival with 20 draft beers, sausage, pretzels, live music is called Oktoberfest, and tickets are still available. It's October 16th, and if you go out there, you can get a good deal on a ticket. To purchase a ticket, you can visit charlottemotorspeedway.com or call 800-455-FANS. And the best part of it is you can have good beer, good food, and also meet driver Casey Kane. That's Oktoberfest. Tickets are still available, and we're still having a good time out here in sunny Southern California. Coming up still on the show, we have Jimmy, the Biff, and the Rocket Man talking about how they're going to get a win today at Auto Club Speedway. Stay with us.
Behind every good businessman is a good story. We've got a guy with racing in his blood who's taken his love for the track and found a new love in the air. We'll tell the tale of DK Ulrich, a man who started on pavement and moved to the skies. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot on speed.
3 down, 7 to go in the chase, and this thing is heating up. It has never been this tight in this point of the chase since we went to this format to crown a champion. Most drivers will tell you they don't really care where anybody else is on the points chart as it's winding down the season, but there is a certain danger when that guy up front is the 48.
The way I look at it is I worry about the 16 car and get the best finish I can here at California. And it really makes no difference who I'm racing for the lead or who I'm racing for 5th, what car it is.
I think we're going to go out there and attempt to beat them straight up and gain points this weekend. And you know, so I don't look at this as a racetrack where, you know, I don't want to lose a certain amount of points. I want to go out there and I want to close back in on the lead.
It seems like when you're watching a 48 car, the right things happen at the right time, all the time. You know, they're always able to put themselves in that situation to benefit from somebody else's mishap or whatever the case may be. You know, can they be beat this year? Certainly. You know, he's had moments of struggles, and certainly Kansas was one of them, but they turned the thing around and got an awesome finish out of it.
You know, those guys just have an ability to step up, and you know, each year they do it, and each year you think, oh man, I think we got, you know, shot at seeing a different champion this year, and then those guys start backing it up right away with solid finishes.
They're the best team out there, and somebody's got to prove they can beat them.
And with the win at Dover and a second-place finish at Kansas, this has put Jimmie Johnson in front by 8 points, Jimmy. With 7 races to go, what does this mean for you and Chad Knaus and the 48 team?
Well, we're off to a good start. You know, even though we had a 25th in Loudon, you know, we're still able to get back into this thing and be a part of it. So I think the exciting thing for a sport is how many people are in striking distance right now. And I think the world knew coming into this chase it was anyone's chase. And you know, we've done a good job the last 2 weeks of saying we want to be a part of it. And I look forward to today's race as well.
Well, absolutely. You look forward to today. When we come here, you've won 4 of the last 6 races at Auto Club Speedway. What makes you so good here, Jimmy?
You know, there's just some tracks that fit a driver and team, and this is one for us. I could say, though, in practice yesterday and watching the cars I was around and knowing how my car drove, it's not going to be an easy day for anyone. The track is really slick. It's a combination of the tire and the car and the weather. It's going to be a handful today, and all the drivers are going to have to earn it. So look for some big power slides by everybody today.
We've talked about this slick racetrack for today with even hotter temps. Do you think it's a drastic change from when we first got here on Friday?
Yeah, we saw a lot. The track changed quite a bit. Yesterday in the first practice that we had, we knew how we wanted to unload, and it didn't work. And then as the day went on, the track came to us some, and we got a lot closer. So it's changed a lot. And with the nationwide race yesterday, I know it's changed a bunch more.
Now, you're a busy man any week, but specifically this week when you come to your home state, a lot of charity events, including raising over $500,000. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. I just can't thank our fan base enough, our amazing sponsor Lowe's, and all the other corporate sponsors that were involved with our fundraiser that took place in San Diego. We had a dinner on Tuesday where we raised a bunch of money, and then our golf tournament. Jeff Burton thinks I'm lying as he walks by. We raised $525,000 that will all go back into the Toolbox Champions Grant program for the 3 areas we're focused in, primarily in San Diego. So this is a great event, and again, I can't thank Lowe's enough for giving me the paint scheme on the race car. It's brought us a lot of luck, and I think this paint scheme is the best looking one yet.
And I saw also in North Carolina, Oklahoma, you're doing some school grants, so you can log on to Jimmie Johnson Foundation, your website, right?
JimmieJohnsonFoundation.org to check it out, and thank you for bailing me out there and not letting me forget that.
And of course, that's because your wife's home state is Oklahoma and North Carolina, where they live. And Johnny, to add to the competition's heart pain today, Jimmie Johnson, fastest in happy hour yesterday.
Man, it seems like when that team gets on a roll, especially at this time of year, there's no stopping them. But if you look at the 9 drivers now, 101 points within striking distance of Jimmie, I don't think we can turn out the lights on this one anytime soon.
Almost 100% of the drivers say the same thing when you listen close. We need to gain on the 48. They're always behind. But it was Matt the Brat Kenseth that simply said, the 48 team of Jimmie Johnson is the best, and somebody needs to step up. But Cal, you know, in reality, he's only got an 8-point lead. That's 1 or 2 positions.
That's 1 or 2 positions. But, you know, there are a couple of things there, just like you picked stuff out. A couple of things there. Denny Hamlin said, we don't go into a race looking at how many points we might lose. Nobody's going into this thing thinking, well, I got to do this and so I don't lose points. They're all thinking gain, gain, gain. I want you to remember something. Jimmie Johnson was 25th coming out of New Hampshire. Took him 3 races to get back to the top. So when you're 100 out, it's not instantaneous. It's not going to happen. You got to count on other people having trouble in front of you. Even though out of those 3 races, he won 1 and finished 2nd in the other, it still took him 3 races. 7 races to go. When you get down in 4 or 5 races left, and you're out by any distance at all, it's tough to make it up in a race or so.
And here's the twist we still have coming up. Of course, we have the big tracks here, Charlotte, but then we go to Martinsville, the small track where you can lose a lot of points in a hurry, and also we still have Talladega.
Both racetracks. Martinsville is Jimmie Johnson's racetrack, but Talladega, Jimmie Johnson has enough feel-good in himself that he's comfortable in his own shoes. He goes at Talladega, y'all go ahead and race. I'll race at the end. It's worked for him. Cal, he's missed all the wrecks, and that's how he's won a lot of these championships, by finishing at Talladega.
Yeah, you go to Martinsville, and you make somebody mad, and they can take you out. You go to Talladega, and you make fate mad, and you make destiny mad, they take you out.
All right, so we've been watching all weekend long, seeing what the 48's done and seeing what their history. So we thought that that would be a good way to lead off our speed fantasy picks here. And if we take a look at the standings right now, you will see Team Race Day has a fairly commanding lead over the Hub, Trackside, and Camping World Trucks. What's wrong with those guys?
We continue to learn these people lessons.
The truck series is Ray Dunlop. That's his problem. Okay, sorry.
And here's our picks for today. We have the El Cajon, California native Jimmie Johnson winning this thing from the A group. Jamie McMurray's going to run well, as is Casey Mears. Casey and Booty Barker have been doing a great job in that number 13 recently.
Casey found a home. I think the 13 Geico Toyota is where he's going to end up all next year.
When we come back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, we will take an in-depth look into this chase and how race number 4 will set us up for the home stretch to Homestead. Stay with us. Welcome back to Race Day. You know, independent owner drivers and their crews were the foundation that NASCAR was built on. One of those unsung heroes is DK Ulrich, whose career spanned over 800 starts as a driver and an owner. Our Wendy Venturini sat down with DK as he talked about what he's doing now and how, as a teenager here in California, NASCAR first piqued his interest.
Me and my brothers, we went to the local races in San Bernardino, California. In 1955, I ran into a guy named A.J. Foyt that happened to come there and drive midget races there one night, and ran into him and talked to him as a young guy, and I decided that's what I'm going to be when I grow up.
The 11th starting spot belongs to DK Ulrich.
There's a group of people today that are really, I think they're forgotten. You don't hear much about the independent drivers of that era. And from in my era, 1971 through, I did most of my driving in the 70s. 1981, 82, I started putting other drivers in my car. But during that time, there were 6 guys that could win, maybe 8 guys that could win, and then the rest of us. And the rest of us, we had our own race. I mean, we'd be 19 laps down sometimes to the leaders, but we'd be racing the crap out of one another all the time. I mean, you know, me and Jimmy Means or Buddy Arrington or whoever they were at that time, we raced just as hard as the guys in front. The only thing we were using their old tires and their old parts and anything we get a hold of to run the race.
I know you had a bad wreck at Darlington back in the late 70s. It was
1978, probably looking back at it, the worst. But I pretty much got killed and lived through it there.
Dave Pearson and DK Ulrich slam into Grant Adcock's stalled car. Ulrich's car looks like it was run over by a train. Ulrich and Adcock are going to the hospital in the infield.
It was a pretty rough accident. Survived it. Kind of changed my career at that point. I started putting other drivers in my car.
And you had numerous legendary drivers in your car: Tim Richmond, Greg Sachs, Ernie Irvan. What's your greatest moment as a car owner?
Well, you know, the King drove for me one race. Nobody knows that. Hardly anybody knows that. And in '86, they had crashed in Charlotte, and I was in the race, and they needed a car because that was before you could bring a backup car. That's actually the event that caused the backup car to happen. When he didn't have a car, he crashed on Saturday, and he needed a car, so I put him in mine, and he drove for me that day. That was kind of fun, and just meeting all these guys, and you know, like when I drug Ernie Irvan out of Concord, he was over in the dirt track over at Concord. It was kind of fun, you know, seeing him do what he did. We had him for a couple of years, and then he went on, won several races, and did well. And Tim Richmond the same way, you know. I saw him at Indianapolis in 1980 or 81, I can't remember. Johnny Rutherford won the race. Tim Richmond was riding on his hood into the victory lane. I said, here's a guy that can, you know, that can really do something in NASCAR, you know, because we need somebody with some spirit. And so we made a deal with him, brought him over to NASCAR, and ran several races with him. About a year we ran with him.
How do you see NASCAR now? How has it gotten better?
It's so different. It's just totally different. I think it's neat, you know. I mean, you know, we would go up and down the road. We'd leave here with a race car, a couple engines, and head out west, and we'd come back for 6 weeks. You know, we lived in the truck, and today it's, you know, our aircraft that we have today, we're flying everybody back and forth. They're upset when they're 15 minutes late getting home. You know, it took us 3 weeks to get home when we did it, so it's quite a bit different.
You know, you're still obviously involved in our industry, but in a much different aspect. Tell us about ETA.
We went into the helicopter business, taking the drivers' owners from the airport to the racetrack in helicopters. That's where we started it, and that evolved into fixed-wing aircraft for the crews. Right now we're moving maybe 450 people a week in the 3 divisions in the fixed wing, and then we have the helicopters. When you get there, we have limousines and buses as needed. We supply, we do all kinds of different work like that. ETA does.
You know, drivers like Bobby Allison used to fly their own planes. How did you get started in that?
Well, I remember when you say that, Bobby, you know, he would always, when he came to the track, he was the only guy that flew there, and he'd come over the track, you know, 10 feet in the air and buzz everybody when he landed, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I bought a small plane, learned how to fly, got a pilot's license, and bought a Bonanza, held 4 people. From there, I had that plane for a year, and it was just too small, so I went to a Navajo, and then went to a King Air, and then evolved through it. But instead of selling the airplanes, I leased them to other race teams to begin with. I had as many as 19 aircraft one time, 19 King Airs and Learjets that I had out to drivers, and did all that, and I never thought it would be in aviation. I never had any idea of that. It just evolved and seemed to work for us. And now I'm probably 15,000 hours of flying time and of my own, and I fly my plane everywhere. Instead of taking a commercial or driving, I just jump in my own plane and go. It makes life easy.
Wendy, thanks a lot. That was a pretty cool look at a pioneer and a guy who is still a pioneer in business. You learn something new every day. We hope you learn it on race day. Who knew that the King drove for DK Ulrich at one time besides Kyle?
I knew.
Of course,
I knew.
But in this day and age of information, I think a lot of those older guys that helped the base of this sport might be forgotten, because back then you didn't have Twitter and internet and all these resources to float the information around.
You know, one thing I really liked what DK Ulrich said, he was so comfortable in his own position. He said, you know, there were the guys that were winning, but then there were so many of us back there fighting to be best in class. So DK is comfortable in his own shoes because he knew where he belonged in the sport, Kyle.
Yeah, and it was funny. We were sitting at breakfast this morning talking to Dale Jarrett. That used to be the way you came in. You got to ride with a DK Ulrich. You got to ride with a Jimmy Means. You look at Jimmy Means. You look at Buddy Arrington. You look at Elmo Langley. You look at Roger Hamby. Guys like that. And then you worked your way into a ride. You know what? DK Ulrich has meant a lot to this sport. I think before anybody else started in the flying thing and all that stuff, he really saw that as the future of where the sport could go and what this sport could do. At the same time, when you look at Ernie and you look at Tim Richmond and you look at guys like that, he brought people to the sport who had a huge impact on the sport, and DK continues to.
You know, one thing I'd like to say is I think that's one thing that is missing in our sport right now. We need some lower tier teams that can give these kids a chance to make some mistakes. It's wrong what we're doing right now to put these young kids in great cars and expect them to win a while. I think they need to do like what Kyle Petty did, get in some lower tier cars, spin out, wreck, and then go, okay, look, I'm ready now. Right now, there's too much pressure on these kids. I remember one time you hit the wall going into turn 1 at Charlotte.
And everywhere.
But my point is you were able to hone your skills and people be patient with you.
Yeah,
And that's one
exactly.
thing that's missing nowadays.
Yeah, nobody has patience. And you know what we like to say every weekend? We're going to say it again. If it was easy, everybody would be
That's right.
driving a race car. It
Right.
simply isn't easy. And Wednesday is vote day, and you don't want to miss it because live on Speed, 25 NASCAR legends are nominated, but only 5 will be in the second Hall of Fame class. Find out which one of your favorite NASCAR superstars gets in the NASCAR Hall of Fame announcement live Wednesday at 3 Eastern exclusively on Speed. Well, he spent a lot of time leading the way when it comes to this championship chase this year. Denny Hamlin will join us on race day to talk about his chances. And believe me when I say this, he is confident and he wants that championship. We'll be back to the Auto Club Speedway in just a moment. The stars of NASCAR have gone Hollywood. In the final trip to Southern California in the fall, Hollywood brings us all the way up the road to Auto Club Speedway for race number 4 of the chase. Jimmie Johnson is looking for the season sweep after his win here back in February, and the Southern California native now has the points lead and is just 6 races away from his 5th straight title. But it may be Denny Hamlin who is Jimmie's biggest threat. He is just 8 points back from the champ. So just how important is race number 4 of the chase? Let's ask the drivers.
So I think we're going to go out there and attempt to beat them straight up and gain points this weekend. And so I don't look at this as a racetrack where I don't want to lose a certain amount of points. I want to go out there and I want to close back in on the lead.
We've got a decent foundation and points built up. We're in better position than we were last year after 3 races. What we need to have happen, like at Kansas, we were running 8th, 9th, and on the final pit stop, we tried to short pit and had a bad pit stop, ended up losing 4 positions. If we could turn that around and flip it the other way and take an 8th place car and finish 5th with it, that's what's going to put us in position to win this championship.
So I feel like our team has been marching towards this points lead just little bits at a time. I think this track is an opportunity for us to do that again.
We've been fairly consistent throughout the year. We, our problem's been executing. We just haven't executed. That's been our problem here in the chase. I feel like we perform at a high level, but we don't finish at a high level, and that's been really disappointing.
As tight as things are, I think everybody in the top 6 or 8 right now feel like they still have a shot at it. But at the same time, you don't ever want to see that 48 up there leading because, those guys are just so tough, so strong that unless something happens to them, it's going to be hard to consistently beat them.
Now, on the Sprint Cup calendar, 10 races takes you 2.5 months across the year. But those 10 races can go by very fast. Doesn't matter which one you're on. Every one is important. But you got to come into California thinking a little bit different than you come into like a Talladega or a Martinsville. You have a chance to do something here and control your own destiny.
We are just a race before halfway, and I say to myself, why is Tony Stewart down on the points? Mistakes. Tony Stewart is a champion. He is one of the best race car drivers of all time. But let's look at it. He runs out of gas at Loudon, New Hampshire while leading the race. Then he goes to Dover, tries to make up for it, pit road speed. Cal, I think the day at California, they need to race and have no mistakes.
Yeah, and everybody does. I mean, we talk about mistakes, and we've talked about it almost every chase race. But it's like Johnny just says. This is a race you can control your own destiny. Pit strategy, how you drive the race car, how the car's been set up over the last couple of days. It's not like Talladega where you're tempting fate every lap you're out there. It's not like Martinsville where it's a little bit of a wild card where you can make somebody mad early in the race and they retaliate against you because when you know we have boys have at it. That's our deal right now. So when you look at it, this is one of those races. This place, Charlotte, Texas, some of those places. So you got to make something happen for yourself when you have the opportunity to.
Now, there's a lot of plan Bs you can go to in racing. Really, you could have a backup driver. You could get a new crew chief. But if your car doesn't make it to the racetrack, you simply can't race. And some of the unsung heroes and the hardest working men in NASCAR are the transporter drivers. And Hmiel Sadler can back that up.
Well, you're right, JR. And standing by with Dean Mazingo, affectionately known as Squirrel here in the garage. You're responsible for getting Mark Martin's car out to California. If y'all don't get here, we don't have a race. How was the transition from Kansas to California, and what time did you guys get here this week?
The transition was great. Being here at Hendrick Motorsports, we're well prepared for just that thing every time we have to go from track to track. So we got everything packed up Sunday night, and we got here Tuesday morning about 9 o'clock.
And how about the trip home? You do have a second truck driver on this trip. I think they call him Biscuit. So we got a squirrel and a biscuit getting this car back home. Now, when will you get, if you get out of here tonight at a reasonable hour, when do you get back to Charlotte, North Carolina?
Well, we plan on being back probably Tuesday morning. I'd say about 8 o'clock Tuesday morning. So that would put us probably about 34 hours.
34-hour trip, but these are the kind of like pit crew guys. They only get recognized if something goes wrong, but these guys had a safe trip out here, and they got to get back and get to Charlotte by next week. Johnny?
I don't understand
thanks
that.
a lot.
I don't
What's
understand that from Hmiel. I thought he was going to get a real truck driver. I mean, Dean Benzingo. I love Dean, man. He's
Squirrel and biscuit.
Yeah,
He's a good
we
man. Now,
used to call him
what's the number,
Butterbean,
guys?
Butterball,
Yeah.
Butterbag, whatever. I mean, when he drove for us.
What's a number for a transporter driver? If you go to every Sprint Cup Series race across the season, was it 36,000 miles I think you spent on the road during a year?
Yeah, but a real truck driver drives about 150,000 miles.
Yeah, but here's what I say.
I'm kidding, Dean. I'm kidding, Dean. I swear.
Here's what I say. I went from one end of the United States in Charlotte, North Carolina, all the way to the other, and then I came all the way back. That's enough for me.
And I'm going to tell you, nobody works harder than those guys. That's a fact, Jack. I mean, they're out there on the road beating it up and down the road when everybody else is going to the airport and flying on DK's plane. So my hat's off to all those truck drivers.
Without those guys, we simply couldn't do it. Some more of the unsung heroes of NASCAR. We always talk about the boys back in the shop, but the boys back in our shop are in the hub. Tomorrow night on Speed, join Steve Burns as he breaks down all the action from Fontana and gets you fired up for race number 5 of the Sprint Cup Chase in Charlotte. Don't miss a full hour of NASCAR Race Hub tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, only on Speed. Well, it is 2 miles of high-speed asphalt here, and it's going to be slick today. When we come back, we'll take you to where the rubber hits the road at this Auto Club Speedway with the track preview. Stay with us.
Nobody messes with Rudiment. The boys discussed David's run-in with Kyle last week and debate who's right and wrong, while the guys behind the wheel offer their 2 cents on chasers versus non-chasers. Will NASCAR's have-at-it mantra help decide who wins and loses today's race and beyond? The answers to the biggest questions are heading your way. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot on Speed.
Did you see that bubble that Kyle blew? That was pretty cool.
That was a bubble. I sneezed.
That was a big bubble.
He's on the bubble.
Hey, here's a guy who's not on the bubble. Here's a guy who's up on the wheel. Let's take a ride with California native Jeff Gordon, a 3-time winner at this track, and see exactly how we get around the place.
Explain this to us, Kenny Wallace.
One thing I noticed yesterday in the nationwide race, look at these black stripes. We do talk about it every week, but with the 95-degree temperatures, Kyle, these black stripes, especially off of turn 2, are going to play havoc. If you're loose, you're going to be looser.
Yeah, and you know, we heard those guys talk about running all over the racetrack. I mean, it's amazing. But when you come to qualify, you get down on that line. You'll actually see guys go below that line. Mark Martin kicked their butt here a couple of years ago with almost all 4 tires. We saw Junior run below the line. But it's like you said, the turn 2 with the tar on the racetrack seems to be a spot this week. There's been a number of guys that have spun coming out of turn 2, and we've heard all the drivers talk about it being hot and slick.
And for your information, about 212 miles an hour. Now pay attention here. The black strips really get rough right in this area, right there. See that? It was about a 1-foot wide strip, so it can wiggle the car around. But as we go down the back straightaway, Kyle, they do use that apron a lot.
Yeah, you use the apron, and this is a place, you know, you can overdrive this corner. We've seen so many people get a good run out of 1 and 2 and overdrive. You see Jeff right down here on the white line this time, just hugging that white line. And it gives the car plenty of room to come up off the corner. If you can get down on that white line, you can accelerate up. But I'm going to tell you, the high line is the way with the momentum a lot of times when you see that.
And when you go from 500 to 400 miles, Elliott Sadler pointed out earlier on the show, there's a greater sense of urgency and gives this race a whole new face.
Well, and plus, you don't think you're going to have, you know, part failure. You get to a 500-mile race like we've had here in the past, you're waiting to break a valve, you're waiting for the motor to blow up, something like that. This is kind of like a heat race for these Cup drivers.
And this is a very difficult track on equipment, especially if you're running 500 miles, but maybe not so much at 400.
Yeah, but it has been hard. It has a history of being hard because there's so much time in the corners. If you saw that watching the 24, once he goes into turn 3, basically it's a turn. Off turn 4, down the straightaway, into turn 1, and back off of turn 2. And then he lets it drift out to the wall, gets straight, and then he goes back into turn 3. So you're constantly slinging the oil. You're constantly, the momentum or the G's that are sent to the right side of the car is pretty strong here.
You know, something that the fans are guilty of at this track? Trash.
Baby.
I am telling you, and you know what I'm talking about.
You're exactly right.
Every race we forget about it. This is the trashiest. I don't mean it mean. The hot dog wrappers, I don't know why it's this racetrack, but every race we have a car go, hey, I'm 280 degrees. I have to pit under green. Here we are, as you can see. For some reason, all you fans need to take your hot dog wrappers and put them in your pocket today.
Dispose of them properly.
It's California. Recycle, people. Recycle.
Right. But why this racetrack more than others, I don't know why.
And a 2-cent piece of paper can definitely ruin a $100,000 race car. Now let's go to Joey Logano with your Home Depot Hot Lap.
Hey, I'm Joey Logano with your Home Depot Hot Lap. This week in California, it's a very wide racetrack, lots of opportunities to move around out there, but that also makes it really crazy on restarts. When you have a track this big, it really, you know, 2 cars side by side really punches such a big hole in the air that the 3rd place car gets such a huge run. It, you know, makes it look like they have 100 horsepower more than you have. So really got to time your passes a lot so you don't lose a spot trying to pass a car. You'll see that a lot here today. When everyone's 3-4 wide, that's when you need to capitalize and, you know, get all those spots as much as you can. So you are really focused on your car being good on the short run, as well as the long run. But I feel like the short run is very important here. So if you get it good, you know, that's definitely a lot of fun out there. If not, it's very frustrating on restarts. So that's your Home Depot Hot Lap.
Thank you, Joey, and best of luck out on the racetrack today. You know, one of the cool things about coming to Southern California is sometimes you get to meet and talk to some very famous people. And today, actress Sharon Stone actually got to meet and talk to Wendy Venturini.
Johnny, when we come to the Auto Club Speedway, we're so close to the Hollywood area. It's always great to have celebrities join us in our NASCAR world. Sharon Stone, who's the honorary starter for today. Sharon, how cool is it going to be to wave the green flag? Have you practiced your wave?
I got to say, my kids have been practicing, and they're very, very excited. They were in my room when it was still dark going, come on, Mom, we're going to miss it. We're going to miss the cars. They're very excited, you know. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful piece of Americana, and, you know, it's been happening since before I was born. This is one of the oldest and most exciting thing. The only more viewed thing on television than NASCAR is football. So we're very excited. My whole family is here. We're really excited to be a part of it.
Now, you just came out of the drivers' meeting, which, by the way, I know the room was very hot, but talk about some of the... It was hot, I know.
Seen those drivers?
Well, I work with them every week, so it's a different story. Okay, so the drivers that you've met, who are you pulling for today? Do you have a favorite in the field?
Well, you know, my kids really like them and asked for a couple of autographs, but I think it would be unfair to pick a favorite. I always feel like we can't look at these cars going by. Aren't they great? But it's just wonderful, and it's really great. Mostly, I just want them all to be safe and have a great time and have nice, healthy competition.
Well, we appreciate you joining us here at the Auto Club Speedway. And the piece of advice we always tell the honorary starters, don't drop the flag.
Exactly, and in fact, that's what one of the drivers told me. He said, hold on to it really tight, because when they go by so fast that literally the speed of the cars can rip the flag right out of your hand. So I'll be holding on tight and looking forward to, I hear the sound is really something, that it's so loud that it's just incredible.
It is, it sure is. You'll have one of the best views in the house, I guarantee it. Johnny, another celebrity, Sharon Stone, here at the Auto Club Speedway.
Wendy, thanks a lot. And that always reminds me of Angie Harmon when she was up there waving the green flag and she was jumping around having a great time. Hope Sharon has as much fun up there on the flag stand. When we come back, we're going to talk qualifying and talk to 2 guys who are going to start near the front of the pack and at the front of the pack. It is always said that this is a whole weekend effort, so let's check out qualifying. KP, see who's going to start where.
I'm going to tell you, Kurt Busch, you know, he carried that car at New Hampshire, and he's carrying that car around this racetrack right now. He qualified 38th, not the performance that they wanted here to be where he's at in the chase. But I'm going to tell you, this is a team that has fought and fought and fought, just grinded it out for the first 3 races. And I don't see this race being any different for Kurt Busch in this crowd. Here, now the 11 car here is a totally different story. I mean, he has been your guy and been the guy that I thought was going to really contend with the 48. terrible qualifying run, 34th. And now he has to go to the back because of a transmission change. But I want you guys to remember at Bristol, these teams had transmission trouble. And they were all sidelined behind the wall, got their stuff fixed and went back. So I think they're a little bit leery of some of that stuff. But this is a guy that can start at the back and absolutely drive his way to the front. He was going to win this race last year when he ended up taking himself out of the race and said that was one of the biggest mistakes that he's ever made in a race car.
This guy right here, qualified 7th, the Biff, Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle, he's a winner here in 2005, and more importantly, he won last week. One thing we all like about Greg Biffle is he is the show. He's riding high all the time, sideways, off the wall. I can remember him winning the race here in 05, hitting the wall right here off of turn 4 sideways. So he is slideways, so he should run good today. Matt, the Brat Kenseth, whenever he qualifies P3 like he did today, qualifying 3rd, look at him. He can win. He's the 2003 champion. He won in February of 2009, and we all like to call him, as they nicknamed him in Wisconsin, Matt the Brat Kenseth. He can get it done.
Let's go to the front row as we wave the green flag today. Elliott Sadler, the pride of Emporia, Virginia, and a former winner at this racetrack. The last time he was here with crew chief Todd Parrott, he won the race, so watch out for Elliott Sadler starting on the front row today. Way to go for the number 19 team. They need to have something happen in their favor because they've had all kind of bad luck so far this season. But driver number 1 from Joplin, Missouri, Jimmie McMurray.
Poe.
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 Poe for Jimmie McMurray.
That's wrong.
He will. I know that's really wrong.
We
he
love
has his
saying it.
Earnhardt Ganassi machine on the pole once again. And let's not forget, Jimmie McMurray was the last guy to upset the Chase party when he won last year in Talladega. He could definitely get it done today. Hmiel Sadler, I think this guy's probably feeling pretty good about today.
He really is feeling pretty good. Good qualifying position. And I like you. You're a good guy. Congratulations on the pole, all that. But my brother could have used a pole really bad. Couldn't you have checked up a little bit in turn 2 and give my boy a chance?
Well, we're good friends, but we're not that close. Elliott had a really good run. He's got a really good car and race trim too, so that's cool to see him running well.
And one more piece of, I got one more bone to pick with you before we get to the good stuff. I picked you last week as my fantasy pick, put myself out there in the Bass Pro Shop get up, and you lay it down on me on 2 laps to go when you had a top 10 going for me, dropped all the way back to 11th. A little bit disappointed in you.
Well, no one was more disappointed than Jamie about losing. It's amazing how our sport is. The top 10 is so important, and 11th is still good, but it's just not the same thing. So that was really frustrating to get past on the last lap. I was upset for hours after the race over that.
I bet you were saying, I got you, Hmiel. Okay, look, today, great qualifying run, no kidding, and you guys have been fast, and you've had a good history at this racetrack. Can you win today?
Yeah, our McDonald Chevrolet, we unloaded, and when you come to the racetrack and you unload, you know in like the first 30 minutes of Friday practice what you have. And I really felt like we had a great car, and then went out and sat on the pole. And we've just had a really good car all weekend, so it should be a really good day for us. This has been a good track. I don't know if everyone out there knows, but Shane Hmiel was involved in a horrible sprint car accident last night, and I just want everyone out there to know that our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. He was seriously injured, and it looks like he's doing a lot better, but certainly we're racing with some heavy hearts today.
Yeah, we echo those sentiments, Wendy.
Well, thank you, Hmiel Sadler. I'm with Ryan Newman, who will start 14th today at the Auto Club Speedway. And Ryan, when you come here to California, we know it's a hot racetrack, slick today, but that's kind of a condition that suits your driving style, doesn't it?
Well, I like it challenging. If it was super gripped up and you could hold it almost wide open, then it's more about the race car. When it's slick, it's more about the driver, or more so about the driver, and I like that. So we've got a pretty good Tornado Chevrolet. Don't know for sure what the racetrack's going to be like. A little bit warmer, I think, today than yesterday, and a little bit later in the day than yesterday. Won't be practice, so we'll see what it's like. But I think we got a good car, and we'll do the best we can with it.
Have you guys had any tire issues this weekend? Elliott Sadler said he experienced some tire wear earlier in the weekend that they were concerned about for today.
Yeah, no wear issues. Other than that, everything's been pretty good.
All right, well, we just talked to Jimmie McMurray. Obviously, points kind of don't really, I don't know if they matter to you at this point. So what is your opinion on that, and what is the goal for you and this team?
Never race for points, race for the victory. And, where we end up is where we end up. We'll do the best job we possibly can. We're not here to DNF, we're here to win. And, anything between there is what we deserve, I guess. So we'll go at it.
All right, well, I'm sure Tony Gibson has got the setup for Ryan Newman today. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. Watch for Ryan Newman to also upset the party because he had one win so far this season and did not make it into the chase, so he could be another one to get one of those wins before all is said and done. And if you want to participate in a great fundraising opportunity, here's one for you. It's called the Jail and Bail event. And if you want to purchase tickets, go to NASCAR Technical Institute and call that number 704-658-1950. It's at the Brick House Tavern, and the proceeds benefit the Breanne Davis Scholarship Fund. The Charlie Daniels Band will headline the event, and for more information, you can also go to utifoundation.net. Well, it was one of the more talked about incidents on the racetrack other than Greg Biffle winning last week at Kansas, the run-in between David Rudiman and Kyle Busch. We'll get more information on that when we come back to race day. Race number 30 of the Sprint Cup season brings us to sunny Southern California and Auto Club Speedway, and the fans out here are passionate about their tailgating as well as their NASCAR. And Chef Nicky, eat your heart out. These guys can really cook out here. In fact, I think that guy said something about gunning for Nicky's job.
That's Chef Nicky all grown up right there.
Oh, that was bad. Oh, you did not.
He didn't do that. And fans of all ages and sizes are out here having a good time getting ready for 400 miles this afternoon on the Auto Club Speedway, 2 miles of high-speed asphalt out here in sunny Southern California. Now, heading in to the Kansas race, you may not have thought that that was going to be one of the wild card races of the chase, but after that race, we now have 9 drivers well within striking distance.
After race number 3 of the chase for the Sprint Cup, several drivers have reason to feel optimistic, while others came down a notch or two. With just 127 points separating points leader Jimmie Johnson and 10th place Tony Stewart, the chase is the tightest it has ever been at this point in the season. Obviously, Jimmie Johnson and Denny Hamlin are still in the prime positions for the championship, topping all other contenders. Hamlin quietly finished in 12th, while Johnson had an up-and-down day after starting 21st.
Still loose, they rolling in part throttle. 10-4, man. You got it, buddy. You made the break. You're good. Go get him.
Johnson's second-place finish enabled him to take the points lead. Teammate Jeff Gordon had his best run in weeks to make the biggest move in the standings, climbing from 8th to 5th.
That's how you finish your race right there, man. I know it's not exactly what we wanted, but that's a nice stat, man. It's a big day for us right there, bud.
Regular season points leader Kevin Harvick moved to 3rd in points, but not without more struggles in the pits.
All the way. Ain't gonna freaking cut it. Get beat by the 11-18 every time. In case you hadn't noticed, those are the guys we're racing in the championship.
With a $100,000 bonus from Ford announced for wins in the chase, Roush Fenway came to Kansas, hoping to put the slow start to the 2010 season behind them.
Now diving to the inside, Matt Kenseth. He wants the lead, and he gets it. Right across the line by inches, Matt Kenseth takes his Ford to the point.
You'll be clear all the way up. Lots of room here. Great job.
Greg Biffle goes around Paul Menard, so Biffle to the point now. He'll take over the lead at lap 2:06.
The winner of chase race number 3, Greg Biffle, his 7th chase win.
Way to go, guys. Great job, guys. Way to go, Biffle. Nice job, Dale. Nice job.
With his win, Greg Biffle moved up 1 spot to 8th in points, now 85 points out of the lead. Matt Kenseth's strongest run in months keeps him 11th in points, but still within striking distance. And Carl Edwards' 6th place finish moves him up 2 spots in the standings to 4th, just 53 markers behind Johnson. But with so many drivers climbing up the ladder, someone has to fall. That someone was Kyle Busch.
Trouble. One car is around it. David Rudiman. He backs into the outside wall, slides down across the banking.
Either you start wrecking people back or find somebody else to do this.
The double O of David Rudiman, contact with the 18 of Kyle Busch.
If there's anybody in the garage area, get the rear end housing ready, get the truck arm ready. Well, I bet you we're going to be going that way. Maybe on damage control, bud. You know we're going to go several laps down if we change that housing. Even if we got to limp around and go 5 laps down or 10 laps down, we'll still have a better points day.
Kyle Busch's run-in with David Rudiman cost him a chance at the points lead, and instead saw him fall from 3rd to 7th in points. Now left with just 7 races to try and regain lost ground.
So what was bad news for Kyle Busch was actually good news for the race fans, because now we have us a chase. Jeff Burton is 101 points out of the lead, but he's all the way back in 9th position, and the Biff showed us exactly what a win can do to your championship hopes.
When NASCAR designed the chase, this is what they had intended. Today, Kevin Harvick down to Greg Biffle, they could swap spots from 2nd to 8th, Kyle Petty.
Yeah, and it's gotten tighter. But I'm going to tell you what, it's kind of like picking up that last 10th when you're trying to go for the pole. This is where it gets really, really tough.
Well, let's now go down to Hmiel Sadler, who is standing by with the guy who made a big jump last week, and that's the Biff.
The Biff.
You're right, JR, and the Biff is back. First of all, big win for you guys last week. I mean, it's been in the making. It just didn't happen last week. You guys have been in contention. Big win for you guys last week.
Yeah, it really was. I tell you, just, you know, came at the right time, too. With those 2 chase races we started off, just not that great, but it's our mile-and-a-half program really, really strong, and a win there, and I feel like, you know, we have a good car for today.
And what's it going to take to win today? We've talked about this racetrack, hot and slick. It's even hotter today than it was in practice. What's going to be the key for the 16 car?
Well, I think the key is you know, just keeping that balance. The car not be too loose. A lot of times what happens here, you get a little too tight down in the corner, and then it's too loose on the gas. And you know, we fought that this weekend, but the wind's changing around a little bit, so I mean, it's going to be a different corner now, so we'll just have to keep the car under us and adjustability on pit road.
You've got this thing now down below 100 points. 85 sounds a lot better than 100 plus. Where do you need to be out of here today with only 6 to go after today to put a little pressure on that 48?
I think if we get, you know, if we can gain 10 or 20 points, 30 points here would be, you know, that would be a great day for us. Now, you know, that's going to be a tall order because we're going to probably have to finish in the top, you know, top 3, and something's going to have to happen to the 11 and 48. Those guys are right there. So, you know, we can just do the best we can and just see what happens with those guys and see where we're at.
And a lot of good racetracks coming up for you. I know Charlotte next week and down the line, a lot of racetracks. This team could really get on a roll right now.
Yeah, it can, and I hope today is the where we get on the roll. You know, we started last week. We need to keep it going this week.
Well, Greg Biffle coming off a big win, a lot of momentum, and some racetracks coming up that this team really runs well at, Johnny.
Hmiel, thanks a lot. And Greg Biffle has a shot at that Triple Crown. If he could win the Sprint Cup Series championship, he will be the only driver to ever win a championship in all 3 of NASCAR's top touring divisions. But when it comes to Roush Fenway Racing, we've said it a couple times already today, but it bears repeating. They are peaking at the correct time.
They are peaking at the right time. And I will say this about all the Roush drivers, especially Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, and Carl Edwards. Their talent took them into this chase early in the year. It wasn't until about halfway, 3/4 of the way through the year, that Jack Roush and engineers found out what was wrong with those cars. Now that the talent got them there, now I think their equipment's going to help.
No, you're exactly right. Matt wins the Daytona 500 and comes to California and wins California, and then Roush Racing disappears off the face of the earth for the next 18 months, it seems like. I mean, it's incredible how far they fell in such a short period of time. Now you look at it, and it seems like the second half of the year, and we heard Biffle say it before, Chicago, we got on a roll. Our Indy, we found some stuff. We got on a roll at Chicago, and you start looking at that. Chassis got better. Their simulation, like Kenny's talked about 1,000,000 times here, that got better. Their engines have gotten better, and they are. This is the time. I'd rather peak at the end of the year than the first of the year anytime, man.
And now they're no longer on the back of the milk carton. Have you seen this team?
Yeah,
Roush Fenway Racing.
Hey, I picked Greg Biffle to win last week, and anytime you pick a driver to win and they win, when you watch a NASCAR victory late tonight, they come flying to you, give you a big hug. Thank you for picking me to win. Kyle always teasing with him. What happened to you? What happened, Roush Racing? You know, and so they finally are winning. Greg Biffle wins last week in Kansas. They're on a roll.
And if you'll notice, if we don't pick the winner, we don't say anything about it.
No,
Just kind of slide it
I
up to the
just
front.
had to mention that.
You, the fan, can be a big winner on our Sunoco Fuel Can giveaway. It's pretty easy to get involved in this one. If you would like to have an official Sunoco Racing Fuel Can, visit speed.com/Sunoco for entry details, official rules, and drawing dates. And when we come back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, he was the guy that was getting the headlines off the track last week for what went on the track. We will talk to David Rudiman when we come back. The 2010 race for the Sprint Cup has been an interesting one, to say the least. Clint Boyer got the chase going with his first win of the season in New Hampshire, but then Jimmie Johnson made a statement that the drive for 5 was still alive at Dover. Then it was the Biff, as he got his second win of the season and some much-needed momentum at Kansas. But another story that came out of that day was the on-track run-in between David Rudiman and Kyle Busch. And that continues the debate of the fact that there are 43 drivers out on the racetrack racetrack, but if you are not in the top 12, should you race any differently? And many drivers have different opinions on this subject.
I just try to finish 13th every weekend. You know, the chase drivers, I don't want to bother them. They're in their own race, so I figure if I can finish 13th behind all the chase drivers, it's been a good day. But no, I'm just kidding.
I think obviously, you know, everybody has fair reign to have the racetrack, and you know, however you're raced is how you're going to race somebody else.
I think it's just a little bit of common courtesy out there. I'm surprised to see, you know, someone take someone out intentionally for something somewhat as innocent as that. But you know, it's just, I don't know why here lately, you know, everyone who gets spun on accident feels like they need to go out there and really turn guys around.
I feel like I treat anyone any differently, good or bad, you know, and I think that's what racing's about. I think it's about letting the 43 best race car drivers go at it. I'm cool with racing them all fair, and hopefully it reciprocates back.
It doesn't matter if I'm in the chase, out of the chase. I'm going to race guys the way I want to be raced, and hard as I can. You know, Rubbins racing, you know, just do what I can do to get the best finish I can.
What makes it unique is that you're racing against, you know, everybody out there. You've got to, you know, race those guys hard and clean and recognize that you're going for a championship and that they have something out there to prove as well. And then they have to recognize the same thing.
And David Rudiman here at the Auto Club Speedway. How are the M&Ms? Coming off the feature about chasers, non-chasers, what you're going to do in these final races. David Rudiman not taking, skipping a moment for an M&M kind of moment.
I love M&Ms. I got an extra pack here too if you need something.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. What is your opinion? Chasers versus non-chasers? Give us your assessment.
I mean, I don't see where there's really a difference, really. There's 43 drivers out there trying to do the same thing. And whether you're in the chase or not, I think it's irrelevant. I mean, you race everybody the same. I mean, obviously the chase guys, you try to give them a little more room, but at the same time, you're out there trying to win races. It doesn't cost us any less money to go out here and race these things. So it's going to be, we're obligated to our sponsors. We need to go out and run as hard as we can, and whether you're in your chase or not, you need to race hard.
So what do you expect to happen in these final 7 races, or do you approach anything any differently now?
No, I mean, I don't think everybody at Michael Waltrip Racing or anybody has anything different to approach. We just do the same thing we do week in, week out, and try to get the Air and Stream machine up front and win races and get in the spotlight the way we want to be there.
And absolutely, you want to be in the spotlight for the right reasons. When we race here today, it's a hot, slick track. What are you expecting to happen in today's race?
I think it'll be interesting. I think track's going to change as the race goes on. You're going to see guys running right up against the fence, and you see guys running on the apron. So there's, you know, every bit of racetrack will be used, and I think it'll be a really exciting race. This is a tricky racetrack, and I feel like we got a pretty good car today. Toyota's given us some great horsepower here, and as well as some good fuel mileage as well. So that's always hard to do. I'm
so intimidated by David Rudiman right now, especially with that thick beard. I don't know that he's been growing. Hermie Sadler, we got some M&Ms here for you.
I need some M&Ms. We want to catch up with Dave Rogers. He is crew chief for Kyle Busch. We heard from David Rudiman. The good news for you guys, I understand the drivers got together at the racetrack, talked on Friday. You guys ready to move on to California and try to get back on track?
Yeah, we're definitely ready to get back to racing. You know, Rodney called me Monday and we had a good talk, and then David and Kyle talked. So Kansas is in Kansas, and we're in California today.
What's it going to take to win here? Obviously, a very slick racetrack we're dealing with today, a little bit different probably than what you guys practiced on. How are you in happy hour, and what kind of changes did you guys make overnight?
Yeah, we're pretty happy in happy hour. We thought our car was pretty decent. The last run we fell off a little bit more, but we're battling traffic. Prior to that, we thought we had a good car in the long run, which is what it's going to take today. Probably going to see some green flag pit stops. Kyle's exceptional getting on off pit road. Pit crew's been really strong lately, so hopefully our car is handling well enough, and we can race to the front and give these guys a run for their money.
We've been talking a little bit through the course of this show about some of the teams having some left front tire issues. Some teams have, some teams have not. What's been the story with the 18?
Yeah, we knew nothing about that until after happy hour. Our tires look really good. We didn't see any problems on any of the tires, so I don't think we're abusing our stuff that bad. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully guys are just a little bit too aggressive and they backed off today, and we won't have any problems.
Well, these guys looking forward to putting Kansas behind them and trying to get a win in California to get Kyle back up in that top 3 in this championship chase. Johnny?
Hmiel, thanks a lot. Now, it sounds like that's all watered under the bridge between those two teams right now, but for sure this debate goes on about how the Chasers are raced with the other guys on the field. Now, there's no doubt that everybody out there owes their sponsor, their owners, and their fans the most positions on the racetrack, but wasn't it just a few years ago that every once in a while we would hear people say, don't be that guy, don't be the person who takes somebody out that costs them a shot at championship?
Yeah, well, you don't want to be that guy. Nobody wants to be the guy that takes a chaser out of the championship, okay? At the same time, you don't want to be that guy that a chaser takes out of the race. And that's how simple it is. And a couple of things. You know, I think Greg Biffle and those guys, a number of those guys said, we just want to be raced the way we race other people. And I think that means respect. That's just code for respect. They're just saying, you respect me on the racetrack, I'll respect you. The other thing that was interesting in those sound bites was Denny Hamlin said, I don't know why people are wrecking each other. I do. Boys, have at it. Once NASCAR said the door is open, you can retaliate, then these guys will retaliate. And they're getting pressure from their crew chiefs. They're getting pressure from fans. They're getting pressure from people to go out and even the score on the racetrack. And that's what's happening. It's incredibly simple. If NASCAR would step in and take care of some of that stuff, you wouldn't have what we're having right now.
The wreck, and that's what we say 1 week later, in quotation mark, the wreck last week. Let me tell you what you don't know. David Rudiman, he gets taken out of the race. But he has been taken out of other races earlier this year. Rodney Childers, his crew chief, says, if you don't go back and wreck Kyle Busch, you need to find another crew chief. So at Michael Waltrip Racing, they have been frustrated that Rudiman has been getting wrecked. They wanted retaliation. Michael Waltrip Racing and Rodney Childers said, send a message. Go back out there and wreck Kyle Busch. And let me tell you what, the message has been sent. The gauntlet has been laid down. I guarantee you, if David Rudiman could stand up in front of the drivers' meeting and say, if one more person wrecks me, I'm going to wreck you back. And I think he's just tired of it.
You think that's the right thing to do? Did David do the right thing?
Well, no. The point I'm trying to make is David Rudiman was told by his crew chief, if you don't go back out there and wreck them, find another crew chief.
And it's not the right thing to do. I don't care what you say. It's not the right thing to go back and retaliate with a race car on the racetrack. It's a weapon. It's not the right thing to do. The thing is, I don't care whether you're in the chase or out of the chase. That's not the right thing to do. I'll stand by that forever and ever.
Because you take your car out of it, too.
Yeah, well, he did.
Well, your car.
You don't always. If you know how to do it right,
you do it right.
Always. Okay, sorry.
And something inside the garage that a lot of people don't know about, and it really is this way. You got the driver over here. You got the motor man, you got the crew guys, the body man, the shock man, and they're all in their own little world. And every once in a while, they all gang up on the driver. And they're like, even though Rudiman wanted Chicago, he needs to get more aggressive. He needs to start wrecking these people back. And race fans, that's what happens. And that's why Rudiman went back and wrecked Kyle Busch, because his crew chief told him to.
But I think at least one thing everybody agrees about right now is that all 43 drivers on the racetrack have the same right, whether you're a chaser or not.
That's exactly. I don't care. All 43 drivers have run the previous races. They fought to be in the chase. They didn't get to be in the chase. But that doesn't mean, oh, guess what? I'm going to go home and watch the playoffs on TV. No, they're still a part of the sport. They're still there winning, and they can still win. We mentioned so many of them earlier. Casey Kane, Jamie McMurray, Juan Pablo. Those guys can win races today and spoil the chances for some of these guys.
And will we have an upset winner today? We're going to find out very shortly. We're getting closer and closer to green flag time here at the Auto Club Speedway. All kinds of folks down on pit road getting a look at their favorite driver and team, and we'll take you down there when we get back.
Next week, the fastest 43 head home for the Chase's only night race. Kurt took checkered here in the spring and can shoot up the standings with a season sweep. But the man on top's the defending fall champ. Will Jimmie add to his trophy case, or can another Chaser close the gap? Live from Charlotte, under the lights at 5 p.m. Eastern, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot on Speed.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And brought to you in part by Articat. Get great deals at the Gone Wheeling sales event. Articat. Share our passion.
There is another pretty exciting chase going on right now as we take a look at the standings in our Sunoco Performance pick. With the pick of the Biff,
yes,
Kenna Wallace has vaulted to the top. And despite the fact that one team was unfairly penalized 150 points, that particular team still finds themselves only 41 out of the lead.
JR, the bottom line is you cheated.
I didn't cheat.
You bent the rules.
Get a quarter out of your pocket. Wait, we can't go there.
Okay. Okay.
So Kenneth Wallace gets to go first.
Here is my pick today. He has won the race here last year in February 2009. He qualified 3rd. He was 10th in practice. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt, the Brat Kenseth is back. He is going to win today. Now, Kyle Petty, you're nipping my heels.
16 points back is KP.
16 points back. But let me tell you something. I have a huge announcement right here. Okay, we have New Year's Day is one of the biggest holidays. Then we have Christmas. In between that falls one of the biggest holidays this country overlooks every year.
What is it?
It's Junior's birthday today.
Yay!
36 today. Does that mean
I see it, Junior.
to win?
All right, I picked Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin again. I'm not all the way, baby.
That was good.
Sorry, I had to throw that out.
That was good.
Hey, well, I thought you were leading us into the fact that you were going to pick him. Now, I told these guys, go ahead, start me dead last, take the 150 points away. I'm still going to kick your rear end. With Jeff Gordon helped me out last weekend, I'm still only 41 out, and this guy is going to help me this weekend from Bakersfield, California. They call him Happy Harvick. We sometimes call him Harv Kevinick. He will win today and vault me back up.
Good pick.
Yep, he's going to be the man. He should have won this thing last time we raced here, but things didn't go exactly his way. And now we go to Mr. Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, Johnny. As you guys know, the last couple of weeks I've been taking bribes and letting people tell me why I should pick their car as a non-chaser. Well, this week I have struck gold. I have signed a contract, a brand new contract, lucrative, by the way, to be a GoDaddy.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. He's taking his clothes off. Oh, my God.
Goodness.
Hermie,
He's
this is
taking a
just
bribe.
wrong.
Look at, oh, my God.
That's just wrong.
I'm a GoDaddy guy. Mark Martin, all the way.
I'm not undressing. Oh my goodness.
That was wrong.
I have to wait so long for picks. My baby's gonna come out being 18 years old by the time we get to me. Gosh, I don't like going last. So here's why I'm picking Jimmie Johnson, because I need some serious points here at California and hopefully pass all these other shenanigans at the bottom of the field. Oh, man. It's not fun being at the bottom, guys.
It is not, Wendy. We've all been there at one time, and you got to be careful about how you climb up, because you got to climb back down someday as well. So there you have your performance picks. But right now, guys, we got to look back at this field, and you can say that, okay, Kansas was wild. We squeezed everything up. Perhaps today we have guys of their fate more in their hands, so we may not see such a shuffling. But then again, this is racing, and anything can happen on any given weekend.
You know, I look back a couple years ago when Tony Stewart did not make the race for the chase, and he went on to win 2 races. Kyle, I think there's some really good cars out there that can win this race that are not in the chase.
Yeah, there's some really good cars that are not in the chase that can win some races, but there's some cars in the chase that haven't won races that need to win a race that can win here. When you look at Carl, when you look at the 24 of Jeff Gordon, you look at these guys, you look at Jeff Burton, these are cars capable of winning week in and week out. They just haven't got it done. But this is a place as slick as the racetrack as they talk about it being, as slick as they talk about it being, these drivers are the caliber of drivers that can get up on the wheel and drive a race car, and they can win today.
And Greg Biffle showed us one thing about this chase format, and the Sprint Cup Series points format in general. A win can do a lot for you. Before, it was looking like they had no shot at this chase. Now with a win, they are right back in it.
And just top 5s, you look at Matt Kenseth. I mean, he's not totally out of it, but he needs a win. I'm picking him in a win today because that team is really starting to roll.
And another team starting to roll that everybody doesn't like to see sometimes, especially the competitors, is Jimmie Johnson and the number 48 team.
Yeah, you know, and they are. You know, when you look at what they've done, first at Dover, second at Kansas, coming to a place that they won the spring race here, when you start looking at those statistics and you look at what Chad does and you look at what that team puts together, just as Kenny said, Matt Kenseth said it in one of our earlier sound bites, they are the best team. That's who we're judging ourselves against. And when they get on a roll, that's scary.
We have had 63 chase races since they picked up the format. Jimmie Johnson has won 19 of them.
The 2 drivers that I think can challenge Jimmie Johnson are Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, and so far they keep having mistakes. No mistakes today, Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin.
No mistakes today, and you got only 400 miles to get to the front. This is going to be a battle on a very fast, very slick racetrack among the best in the business. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to the Auto Club Speedway for having us around, and join us tonight at NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco at 8. So long.